It's reasonable to think EQ is the answer to harsh mixers. But what if it's actually making things worse? It wasn't until I tried multiband compression that the high end in my mixers started to sound more like records. And here are my 4 favourite ways to use it to smooth out harshness and finally start getting that commercial sound you've been chasing. So why would EQ make harshness worse? The harsh quality in a mix isn't usually a fixed problem. It's a dynamic one. Certain frequencies jump out on louder moments, on harder hits, on pushed vocals. They're not consistently too loud, they just spike. And when you reach for an EQ to fix that, you're placing a permanent cut across what is a moving target. And you're pulling back frequencies that actually sound fine most of the time. And on moments where they spike, the cut is still not deep enough to deal with it cleanly. A multiband compressor works differently because it works in reaction. It sits across a frequency range and only acts when the level in that range exceeds a threshold. So instead of permanently removing something from your mix, you're smoothing out the moments where those frequencies just get too loud and leaving everything else untouched. My approach to this is to apply a multiband compressor across 3 bands, and I split at 100 Hz and 1K, which gives me control over the low end, the mids and the high frequency ranges separately, and fine-tune the threshold of each band until the signal is controlled without becoming dull. For something like a vocal with a specific nasal harshness, I'll use a single band and target just that frequency range rather than processing the whole signal. And once it's done, the EQ comes in afterwards. And at that point, it's a very different experience because you're enhancing a smooth signal rather than trying to tame a spiky one. You boost without a multiband in place and you're just making those already uneven frequencies louder. The high end gets brighter, but the harshness gets worse. Cymbals are one of the most common sources of harshness in the mix. So are the drums, and they might sound absolutely fine, but run the whole session and there's a top-end brightness that feels fatiguing. And that's because the level of the cymbal changes constantly. A crash hit sounds very different in energy from a ride pattern, and the harshness tends to come and go with those louder moments. And that harshness can cause you to pull down the level of the overheads, which leaves the drums sounding dry and less exciting, and you lose a lot of what makes a drum kit sound like it's in the room with you. Let's take a look at these drums. With cymbal harshness, I tend to obviously think about the overheads, but also the rooms. Very often, when we want to compress things like rooms to really bring up the excitement of a space, then that's when cymbals can really take over and become too harsh. In this mix, I've got some overheads and rooms, and I've got a multiband compressor on the overheads, just targeting 5.5K. And on the rooms, I've got a multiband where I'm using a much broader band from 1K and above. So let me show you what they're doing. If we solo the overheads and listen to the mid-late section. So you can hear how much louder that crash cymbal is. We look at the multiband, see what that's doing. So it's reacting a little bit to the snare, but mostly it's reacting to that crash, and that's what I wanted to control. And let me just bypass that. So it's quite subtle, but there is a gentle sort of dullness or softness being carried through there on those crashes. And then over on the room mics in that same section, let me bypass this multiband. Again, you can hear how much louder the crash is in comparison to the rest of the drum kit in the room. I'll run that again and then I'll bring the multiband in. So you can hear how it's just dulling those crashes down. And that layered with what's going on with the overheads, with the control that's happening there, is just smoothing those cymbals out a little bit. Because the harshness here is concentrated in a specific frequency range, I'm using a single targeted band rather than the 3-band approach I mentioned at the start. And I've placed it across that area where those cymbal spikes were living and setting the threshold so that it only reacts on those louder moments. The cymbals still sound open and present, they're just not spiking anymore. And once those edgy frequencies are under control, you can safely compress the whole stereo overhead signal without those spikes making the compressor work overly hard. That stereo compression also brings up all the quieter ghost notes on the snare, which adds to that sense of excitement and life in the drum sound. And once you've got control like that, you might find you can bring the overheads up in level in the entire mix and really open up the drum sound. Cymbals aren't the only place where a harsh, uncomfortable top end can creep into a mix. Acoustic guitars can have exactly the same problem, and it's often much harder to spot because it gets mistaken for a tonal issue rather than a dynamic one. A plasticky, harsh quality on an acoustic guitar is almost always a recording issue rather than a problem with the guitar itself. And it usually comes down to the way the microphone has captured the pick attack, or a particularly bright microphone that isn't that well matched to the tone of the guitar. So you can hear it right there on those strummed chords. It's a bit brittle, it's a bit synthetic. That just gives it that plastic quality. So when I hear that, I'll go straight for a multiband compressor. Now I'm using the FabFilter Pro MB, but you can use any multiband that you have. This is that 3-band setup that I referred to, where I do a split at 100 Hz and a split at 1K, and that gives me the 3 bands. So with this 3-band approach, I've got control across the whole frequency range of the guitar, not just the top end. And I'm fine-tuning the threshold of each band so that the compressor only reacts on those harsh attack moments. The guitar retains its natural tone between those moments because the multiband isn't doing anything until it needs to. And what you're left with is a guitar that still has definition and presence. It just no longer sounds like it was recorded with the wrong microphone. Let me show you how I would set the threshold on these bands. Let's take a listen to these high frequency spikes and start to dial the threshold back to get some control. So we've reached a point there where I feel as though we've controlled those louder strums, so the performance feels much more smooth and much more level in terms of dynamics. There's a little bit of trade-off there in terms of how bright the guitar feels, but this is where we would go ahead and add an EQ now afterwards to be able to boost the high end on this guitar. And because we've controlled those spikes, it's not going to be compounded by the high frequency boost you might use on your EQ. Because this has slightly dulled the tone of the acoustic, it's made it seem a little bit thicker sounding because of that. So let's go now to the mid band and just pull back so we get a little bit of control in those low mids. Okay. And my general rule of thumb is that I'm probably aiming for about 3 dBs of gain reduction, generally speaking, across those two, the mid band and the upper band. I'm not bothered about the lower band below 100 Hz here because it doesn't really apply to this acoustic, not in a way that I feel as though I need a multiband to control it. But on drums, for example, that very well may come into play, or the bass guitar, of course. You know that nasal forward quality in a vocal, that slightly sort of pinched sound that can be uncomfortable to listen to, tends to sit somewhere around about 2K, 2 kilohertz. And the important thing to understand is that it usually only becomes a problem on the louder, more forceful moments. So a verse might sound completely fine, and then the chorus arrives, the singer pushes harder, and suddenly there's this quality in the vocal that just makes you want to pull away from the speakers. This applies equally to male vocals and female vocals. And it's not about the voice itself, it's about the way any voice behaves with effort and intensity. Take a listen to this mix. We're listening to the verse at the moment. Listen to the quality of the vocal.
She said we're raising money for so and so. They're gonna save us from the politicians, and I'm sure you know.
So it's a really great quality voice. It's really smooth. It's got clarity to it. It sounds absolutely fine. But then listen to what happens when we get to a section where the vocalist really pushes.
Think I left the up and on, I gotta go. If my house burns down, I'll be out in the cold.
So when he's really pushing, there's a frequency there that's quite strident, and you could say that that's a nasal quality. Listen again.
Think I left the up and on.
So it's the word I've being held. Just, it's got a little bit of an edge to it. And when I hear that, I'll always reach for a multiband compressor. Up comes the Fab filter, and I've got this little band here that I will actually move around. I know this frequency is usually somewhere between 1.5 and 3 kilohertz, usually. I've set up this band to be able to target that particular problem. And like before, I'll just use the threshold to just dial in the right amount of cut that I want on that band. Let me just solo it for you so you can hear it without the band. So here's it bypassed.
Think I left the.
So let's just solo this band and try and find where that particular strident frequency is.
Think I left the up and on, I gotta go. Think I left the.
Just feel as though it's sitting up there really, 2.8K.
Think I left the up and on, I gotta go. Think I left the up and on, I gotta go.
And the amount of cut that you choose obviously depends on the vocal and the recording. Here, I just feel as though it just needs tucking in a little bit. I don't think it's a terrific problem in this particular vocal, but I just want maybe a dB or 2 reduction on that held note. Let's just check it out in the mix.
Think I left the up and on, I gotta go.
That's great. And then after that multiband has smoothed out that particular peaky frequency, I'll just compress it as normal and do some enhancing EQ, where I'm able to boost 12K, quite a good healthy boost there at 12K without anything spiky sticking out and being pushed even more to the forefront. That idea, something that only sounds harsh on its louder moments, is exactly the same problem you get with electric guitars. Except with guitars, people tend to reach for the wrong tool entirely. Overly bright electric guitar recordings have a harsh, fizzy quality in the upper frequencies that can make a mix feel really uncomfortable. And when people try to fix it, the instinct is usually to reach for a high cut filter and roll off the top end. And really, that's using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. You end up with a dull sounding guitar because you've removed the whole top end just to deal with a problem that only happens some of the time. Take a listen to this guitar. It's got an edge to it. It's got a high frequency edge to it that is actually accentuated because of the ringing nature of the actual performance in this case, as part of the arrangement. And when you hear it in the mix, it just seems to just stick out. It just has a quality to it where it's distracting. What you might think to do is to go in and just apply a high cut to that guitar. Let's do that. So that's got hold of that edge, but the whole guitar sounds dull now. So instead, let's use a multiband compressor. And we're really focusing on this top band here, so let's listen to that. So you could see that dynamically working just on those peaks, really, and just sort of use the threshold to find the right spot where I felt as though there was a good balance between those high peaks and the rest of the performance. So let's do an A/B test between the high cut filter option and the multiband option. So with that multiband in place, the guitar retains its character between those peaky, harsh moments because the compressor isn't doing anything drastic until it needs to. And now when I follow that up with an EQ, I'm not fighting against a fizzy signal, I'm enhancing a smooth one. So today we've been talking about multiband compression controlling the high frequencies. But harsh and fizzy isn't the only problem a guitar can have. Low-mid build-up is just as common and just as hard to fix with EQ alone. Here's a video that covers exactly that, as part of a 5-plugin workflow I use to take a raw guitar track from uncontrolled to polished. That's all from me. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.